keep thinking of Oracle as a babysitter here. This is the US babysitter for ByteDance. And as Joya just detailed, I think a lot of this is going to come down to the housing of data, the security of the data, and privacy. How can Oracle use its infrastructure in the US, its infrastructure in a US-based company to make sure our American user data is safer than what we had all sort of feared that would be in the hands of a Chinese company?
Yeah, I like the babysitter analogy, but again, you could also argue, well, a babysitter doesn't do much. I mean, you make sure the kids are alive, but, you know, on top of that, the parents...
It depends on the age of the kid.
Yeah, exactly. The parents are still the parents.
Case here, honestly.
Right. So here's a line from Derek Scissors over at AEI that I thought was interesting. He said, you know, let's remember that this all started with a legitimate inquiry into the privacy and national security implications of TikTok's gathering of information on Americans. So, Joanna, his point is, now we fast forward, that has not ever really been addressed. Now Oracle is kind of just the babysitter. Again, I don't want to downplay. I mean, from China's point of view, this may be way too heavy-handed, but have those, and are those concerns really being addressed here?
I mean, I think the biggest question, and the biggest question throughout this whole thing, has been around the algorithm. The A word is the biggest deal, I think, here. Yes, where our data lives is extremely important, but that algorithm, which seems to be TikTok's secret sauce to getting us to stay on that app for so many hours. I have written about this. This app is one of the most addicting things I've ever had on my phone. It is all with that algorithm behind it. So the content that is fed through that's the algorithm. So if that's not in the hands of a US company and that's still in the hands of ByteDance, there are a lot of big question marks around that.
Julia?
Well, I think it's really interesting, though, that what we're talking about right now, the idea of a restructuring, having a U.S. company be responsible for the data meaning the data on U.S. consumers, which is what they did not want to have exported back to China. Everything we're talking about there is very similar to what was first pursued when there were CFIUS concerns. So there were CFIUS concerns. They started talking about a restructuring. Then the president got involved. This escalated. It became something that was on headlines in every newspaper. And now we went from conversations about a full-blown sale of the company to now this idea that it's a minority stake. So I think that we're sort of going back to where things were earlier this year before the president got involved. And the big difference being that there would be a U.S. company, in fact, a U.S. company with ties to the president, Oracle, that would be the one that would be managing that data and ensuring that it's not exported back to China. So I think it's just interesting to note the sort of the cycle here.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would point out is this still isn't done yet. And we could see Walmart come in and see them also be one of the other players that could own a piece of this company.
Yeah, and I guess my final question for now, Joanna, with that being said, I mean, this is not the end of the story yet, but under this arrangement, who's the authority that gets to decide? So if there's a dispute between Oracle and TikTok US over an algorithm practice, a data collection practice, you know, if Oracle's a minority partner, it doesn't sound like they would have the last say. Are they referring this matter to the U.S. government? Are they negotiating with U.S. ByteDance and with China? I don't understand kind of who calls the shots.
I don't think we do understand or know the answers to a lot of those questions yet. And I think that's really illustrative of what this messy U.S.-China partnership or divisions of walls is going to be for the next number of years ahead. Where are the things that are in our control and where are the things that are in theirs? And especially as these companies create new types of deals, what does that mean for the end product?
Right.